All right, we're live. Canada Throws podcast, season 2, episode 13. Just rolling along here in the season, getting ready for open number 4. Last open of the year. We had a pretty big weekend last weekend, Rammer. I think we had 3 regionals. Well, last weekend we had 3 regionals across the country, plus a couple of weekday regionals in Delhi. How was your past weekend?
Oh yeah, we had our four joke regional here. It was pretty good. Um, Open division was definitely a tough one. Had a lot of pros down, Colbert and Michelle Hunter and
Yeah.
Don. So it was a good group. It was a fun day. I always noticed near the end of the year, like starts being a little bit more laid back.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens, but like it just seemed like a really laid back. It was a fun day. Everyone was, even playing in like big games or important parts in the brackets, everyone was still having fun and,
Yeah.
cheering each other on. So
It's
yeah,
more fun that way, eh?
it was a
Yeah.
fun day. It was a good day. It was a good group of people and I had a lot of fun.
You find you play better under those conditions too, where it's like more laid back?
No, I don't.
No?
No, because
Oh,
I
you
get
can
sucked into
relax more?
conversations.
Oh, you get sucked in, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, I can't, yeah, I need to be like more, I don't know. I always say this, but like if you ever see me do anything else besides play cornhole,
Yeah.
like I'm like intense and like I don't know. I can't do that at cornhole, so I get sucked into the conversations.
Yeah, get sucked in, and then next thing you know,
Yeah.
side,
Well, it's
side railed.
21-4 and you're like, "Oh, we're done?"
Yeah. And your opponent's like, yep, sucked you into the
Yeah.
conversation again. So now everyone's going to know if they're
Yeah,
playing
just start
Rammer,
talking.
just try to
I'm just
start
going to wear
talking to him.
headphones and not even have music on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Noise canceling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who took down the divisions there?
In open singles was Jeff Colbert. He beat John Piling in the finals and MJ got third.
Yeah.
Open doubles or tier 1 doubles was Jennifer Baker and Jay Ashton, who beat Jeff Colbert and Michelle Hunter. Comp singles was Uncle Jerry McGill,
Yeah.
and intermediate. Can't think of who won intermediate. Oh, Joe Bork won intermediate, and then in novice was Nadine Dunlop.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, so it sounds like a pretty good day, pretty good event. It was well attended.
yeah, it was solid. This time of the year, the numbers normally start to slip. We got like in our area, we have a lot of people that play baseball,
Yeah.
so there was a couple local tournaments in the area, but it was still pretty good for this time of the year. Open singles, I only had so much room. I probably could have sold a few more spots or had a few more players come out and play at that level. But no, it was a good day.
Yeah, you know what? Really, this time of the year, I think if we get 20 teams out for a cornhole tournament, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a couple other ones too, right? We had Delhi had their midweek regionals,
Doubles, yeah.
doubles and singles, right? Or singles was last week.
Singles was last week, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that because we were on with Todd, but Steve took that down. Pole.
Yep,
I think he beat Brett Castine
yep. In the finals, yep.
in the finals. Yeah, and then this week was really interesting. So I was kind of following along from home on Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
and Crystal and Steve were having a pretty good run. They'd made the King Queen seat, the royal seat, and waiting for someone to come through, and they ran into John Piling and Larry Bone, right?
Yep.
I looked and it was the score was 17-5 in game 1 for Steve and Crystal, and I didn't check my phone again that night. I figured 17-5, pretty good lead. It was game over. I woke up in the morning and saw a picture of Steve and Crystal holding up 2 fingers, and they didn't look so happy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What just happened?" So I went back looked. So it was 19-7, 19-7 for Steve and Crystal, and Larry and John decided not to make another mistake for 2 full games, and outscored them 36-2 over the next 38 points.
Yeah, so I played on the Tuesday. I teamed up with Scott Kenny, and we played um, Larry and John. And John
Yeah,
had just played in our regional too, so that's the first time I think I seen John really play and actually got to watch him.
yeah,
He's pretty strategic on how he plays. He's got a really good airmail too, so unless he's really making mistakes, it's hard to score. And then Larry's been playing good for a
yeah.
while. Yeah, and he's got an assortment of shots too. So definitely two guys to watch out for. Two guys that are definitely going to make some noise in the Open division here in the next bit of time.
Yeah, no, I think John, me and Jude played against John and Larry in Lindsay, but their game, Larry was already kind of hitting his stride kind of mid fall, but now that John has as well and they're playing together regularly, they're definitely a dynamic team. Yeah, I was like, fuck, 19-7 and just not another mistake. Like
Yeah,
they like Steven Crystal needed 2 points there to win it. Couldn't get it done. And then the next game was 21-2. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into your head as well, right? You're up 19-7 and you lose. Sometimes it's hard to get focused again for that second game. You might not be in the right headspace because you just lost from being ahead so much.
I would love to see the stat on how many double dips happen in the finals.
Yeah,
I feel like we talk about more double dips than someone getting in the king seat or queen seat and hammering it out. I don't know if it's just because it's a little seems to be more unexpected that it happens, but I've been in on on both sides of that, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but just thinking about it here quick, I think I think I've pulled off more double dips than
winning
wins
from the king
while
seat.
and then wins sitting in the king seat. It's hard to get if you come from the bottom, you're already playing,
Yeah,
right? So you've already probably won 2, 3, 4 games to get
yeah,
to back to the finals. You got momentum, you got your shots figured out. And then you're coming into where, I don't think a lot of people coming in on the bottom side of a bracket feels like they have pressure like
yeah.
the top does. I mean, we just have to win one game. We've been, and you've been sitting.
That's
So I
right.
think in the finals, if the team coming out of that bottom bracket or that player coming out of that bottom bracket can get any momentum going early in game one, I think that's where a lot of the double dips come from. You get that game one, and now that person in the queen seat or the king seat to start second guessing what they're doing, or maybe they try to adjust a play style, throw more blocks, or try to run the hole if that's not their game. They try to mix it up, and then it can go south in a hurry sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to think about, right? And also not only that, like being in the king seat and then losing the first game in the finals, and that can be a big mental block too, because now you're thinking shit, and now it's do or die, and you can get in your own head. Sometimes maybe if you're playing a little bit loose in game one because you kind of have that one loss that you can have, so you're playing a bit looser than you usually would, and maybe you get in some bad habits that kind of transfer over to game two, where like you said, you're coming from the bottom. You've already been playing lose or go home or win or go home games for the past
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 games, so you're already in that mental headspace, and you just keep pounding it out.
Yeah, not that I think anybody ever wants to lose too, but I think if you can get all the way to the finals from that bottom side, you're probably already pretty happy with your
Yeah,
finish in the tournament, right? Whereas if you're in that undefeated spot, like you think you should win because you've already gotten that far, right? So it's definitely a game of momentum, and sometimes in cornhole it can swing in a hurry.
yeah. James Finley just put in the chat that he's been double dipped more than when he's been the king seat than
Yeah,
than winning from the king seat. And I mean, I can account for that because I'm definitely at least one of those. I remember in in December in Tiny.
there you
So
go.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I mean, there was, John had a good event. He had 24 teams out for a midweek doubles regional. It's great. The players are still playing as that, race to the top 64 kind of heats up
Yeah.
since it's going to be in Simcoe there in southwestern Ontario. So,
Our
you
area,
know,
yeah, there's a lot of chatter over the last few weeks about, especially in our area, like being, I mean, I think I'm probably about an hour and I want to say I'm about an hour and 10, hour and 15 from Simcoe, but you have
yeah,
Delhi and you have Niagara and you have, Hamilton guys. We're all kind of the same distance to that spot.
right,
So I think there might have been some guys that might have been not thinking about the top 64 as much as they are now with, it being in Simcoe. So
right.
definitely the push for the top 64 in this area is definitely on.
Yeah, and we'll just touch on it real quick, but I put a post out on ACL Ontario this week, kind of just highlighting the weekend, highlighting all the events available that weekend, as well as different events for different days. So and what you'll qualify for, because this year we did something different, right? Um, there's the top 64, as well as if you went to both provincial events, you also qualify to play that weekend, right? So
Yep.
on the Friday night, we're having the Memorial Blind Draw. This is kind of something I guess, unfortunately, we had to start a few years ago with Robert and Craig's passing, and we'll continue it on with with the loss of Biggs, and just kind of remembering all these great guys that we used to play cornhole with. So that'll be on Friday night. That's open to everyone, no matter what. Saturday, Saturday we have. I didn't forget.
Singles, doubles, blind draw.
Yeah, singles, doubles, blind draw. Yeah. So.
Let me grab a drink here. Look what I got going on here.
Hey, Megan, you are not going to want to have any more of that. Hopefully, he finishes it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So singles, doubles, one division, right?
Yep.
Top 64. If you do, it doesn't matter. You finish in the top 64,
Or you
or
played both.
you played both. Everyone in one singles division, everyone in one doubles division. That's it. For the blind draw, it will be two. There'll be the top 64 blind draw, and there'll be the showdown blind draw. So I think it's self-explanatory. You didn't finish in the top 64, but you went to both events. You play the other blind draw.
Yep.
Then Sunday, Sunday is our new event that we came up with this year, the Clash of Champions, presented by CSC. You win, you're in. It's as easy as that. There's no other ways to qualify. You win a regional, you win a provincial, you qualify to play in this event. You qualify in the division of your highest win. You're a multiple winner. Maybe you started off the season in intermediate, won a couple events, got bumped to comp, won a comp event. You're playing
Play comp.
comp.
Yeah.
You played
Also, just
tier.
quickly on the format, if you played in doubles
Yeah,
and you used a tier system, so tier one would be open,
yeah,
tier two would be advanced,
that's right.
and tier three would be comp.
That's
So
right.
if you ever played in a doubles event, like I know we run it that way, I
Yeah,
believe
me
Keaton
too.
did too,
I do too.
and Geoff
Yeah,
too. Yeah, so there'll be a bunch of regional directors that ran it that way. So if you won a tier one event, that's open. If you won a tier two event, that's advanced. If you won a tier three event, that is comp.
that's right. And then I know, we have some more advanced winners from, advanced divisions, but also from that format. Keaton also ran that format for singles. So it's going to be a tough field across all divisions, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. I mean, it's a free single elimination tournament, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a small prize, but it's and a plaque. The idea is that you have those bragging rights. You are, the Clash of Champions champion.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be really fun, and something a little bit different, and a bit of a reward for players working all season to try to get those wins.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to play in one of the previous top 100 events that have been held in Ontario, it's a very fun atmosphere. It's, it kind of just puts a bow on the end of the season where you get a chance to go play with, people from all across the province and just have a good time. Again, what I find always when we get to the end of the year, and especially for that event, it seems like all the pressure's off. It's a lot more laid back, and
Yeah.
a lot more fun's had. Not that we don't have fun playing corner all the time, but it's just a lot more laid back atmosphere at those events. So
Oh, it's not as competitive at all, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's a for fun event. I think when you get down to the last few, obviously it gets amped up a bit more. But yeah, no, it's definitely a bit more laid back. It's August 22nd to 24th, Simcoe, Ontario. Brian Conway just had a quick question about the top 64. So Brian is in Newfoundland, so I'm not sure if this applies to him because things changed this year. So it's up to every provincial director to kind of do it or not do it. I mean, there's no,
yeah. There's an
it's
option
not
this year.
like years have passed. Yeah, it's just do it. You're just like we're just doing it on our own, and you certainly can, and you don't have to as well. But he's saying is it just your best six of singles and doubles? And I mean, at the end of the day, if Sean wanted to do one in Newfoundland and just use those standings, I mean you could. This is a an event that was added by provincial directors to give back to the players or something to work for. But no, in Ontario we're using the provincial standings, which is 12 locals, six doubles, six singles, and your best singles and doubles
Yeah,
provincials.
yeah.
So yeah, we're just using straight off the ACL Ontario standings, and your top 64 on there are your top 64. I was looking at the top 100, like if it was say last year, got 14 people from Northern Ontario in the top 100 this year. There was a time when I was
Must
the
have
only
been a lot of
person.
snow up there or something. They must be bored.
Yeah, there was a time where I was the only person playing in Northern Ontario. So we've come a long way up here. It's pretty fun. I love it.
No, that's good.
Heading out west, Okotoks, Prairie Dogs had a regional in Okotoks, Alberta. I mean, I watched some of the live streams and some of the pictures. It looked super well attended. We got so Rob and Craig both played with juniors, which I thought was super
Oh, that's
fun.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, they both played well, but I mean, they didn't win. But I mean, a junior did finish second. So Jordan Hendrickson, who I think is making a bit of a name for himself in Alberta, and he was playing with Noah Haynick, who he was mentioned to us before, maybe earlier in the season in a few posts. He's a kid from Edmonton.
yep,
He's going to be 14 at the end of the month, and him and Jordan finished second to Peter and Aaron in open doubles. And I think that's a really gritty performance. I mean, from a 14, 13, well, he's 13, a 13-year-old kid in Jordan. I mean, Jordan's definitely a player.
yep.
Um, I mean, he took down singles actually. He beat Aaron, had the king seat, beat Aaron, won open singles, and I mean that for a regional event. I mean that is a stacked field. We have Craig Halford, a guy that has won a pro event. Rob Ayers, Aaron, Jordan, Peter Gunn. Of course, that's a pretty strong group. Plus guys like Nick Finkel and Steve Wilson. I think when you get in Alberta, we don't have as many ACL players, and therefore they don't have quite as many regionals, right? But so
Yeah,
when you do, they
it's a
seem to
big.
all come. Yeah,
It's a big event, and everybody shows up.
yeah,
Some of the other areas, like here in Ontario, we have multiple options almost every weekend, it seems. And I guess in Newfoundland, they kind of just play out of St. John's, really.
yeah.
So, it'll take time to grow it out there. But yeah, when they hold those events in Alberta, everybody shows up, and if you're gonna win something like that, you would have been playing pretty good to get it done.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, oh shit. Sorry. What's going on here? Sorry, this is a small technical error. There we go. Back on track. I clicked the button I shouldn't have.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, no, Jordan taking down Aaron because Aaron is playing, he's
Aaron's
he's playing
always been good.
incredible.
Like I remember,
He's probably going to be a pro next year. I mean, let's be honest. He's leading the pack in Alberta. I don't know if someone will catch him at this
he,
point.
he's leading in points.
Yeah, in provincial standings. Yeah,
So he would get it out of the
provincial
each
standings.
conference has to have two representatives, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I remember the first time meeting Aaron was when we went to Calgary for the first time,
Yeah,
and he was good then,
yeah,
and hadn't really followed much leading into that first time we went to Calgary last year, and I think it was April, right? Was it April?
yeah. It was April. Yeah,
I hadn't really followed it, but him and his dad are
yeah.
both very solid players.
Roger won a
So
pro spot that first season
yeah,
and
yeah, if they
didn't take it.
qualify,
Yeah,
right? So not surprising to hear that Aaron's at the top of the list. He's a good player, solid player, and by the sounds of it, they got some other guys that can shoot out there too. Amongst the 3 or 4 pros that we have already out there. So again, it just takes time to build up, but it sounds like Alberta's well on its way to developing some great shooters.
yeah. I'm
And
hoping some of those.
I always have to mention my partner, Kathy Sybil.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I mean, I hope some of those guys come out to Ottawa for nationals, and maybe give a shot at the pro qualifier there because I think guys like Jordan and Nick Finkel and I mean I think Aaron will already be qualified by then, but I mean we could have because all three Alberta pros right now would requalify through pro standings as we stand. So we could have
Yeah,
six Alberta pros next year.
yeah, it's
Yeah, no,
possible.
no, they definitely have some high end talent, and I like seeing when new players kind of um, rise to the top of the leaderboard. Right, Team Canada throws athlete Presley Bohm's uncle Kyle is actually top 7, so that's pretty cool in
Okay.
Alberta. I know Presley and Glenn went to the last couple of regionals out there. They didn't make this one, but I mean, I love to see the new players trying the ACL events, and these guys have been playing ACL, all season or the past couple of seasons, continue to progress in their journey. Right? It just gives us more storylines as we go forward. It gives us more pockets of elite players across the country that we can kind of watch and follow and see their trajectory.
Yeah, I think also it also helps bringing out continuing to bring out the opens out there.
Yeah,
If we're not going to continue to develop players, why would the events continue to be held out? If people aren't
that's
showing
true.
up to play, so getting more people into those events and help them develop and continue to grow the opens and all events in that whole area. So always fun to come out there. Looking forward to going back out there next year whenever we get out there and seeing some of these players we're talking about here now.
Yeah, no, it should be good. I think they've come a long way. I mean, at least on the ACL side, CCL, they have got a pretty strong following out there, and you see more crossover lately. Anyhow, I do. You know who else is good is the Sauter family. Is that how you pronounce it? Sauter.
I think so.
There's 3 of them, eh?
Yeah. So I remember the first year I went out and played. Me and Corey played the father and the daughter. Is the father
Dean.
Dean and daughter Ashley, I
That's
believe.
right, Ashley. Yeah,
Yes, we had played them in doubles, and I seen them again this year when we were out in Calgary.
yeah,
But yeah, they seem to be at all the events, and
good.
maybe some of that homegrown talent out there, but they definitely get out and play, and it's good to see that some people continue to support the program from start to finish here.
Yeah, then you got LT. LT is actually signed up for Newfoundland, so he'll be out there with those other Berta boys. So yeah, no, we're looking forward to seeing the continued growth and just see how these players progress in their journeys and how far they want to take it. Because I mean, really, that's what it all comes down to as well, right? How far do these white guys, want to go? Do you want to try to push for that pro spot? Is that really important to you? Um, and if it is, you just kind of keep plugging away and try to get at it.
Yeah, it's the game of cornhole. You can play it at any level. You can
Yeah,
you can enjoy it at any level too. So whether, like you said, the goal is to get the pro card, or your goal is just to play advanced or comp or intermediate, whatever that may be. But there's a different kind of atmosphere playing those big events when you have a state event or an open event like that, that really make it fun, that make it much more, feels much different than, playing your local night or your, even a regional. But yeah, the game's growing out there, and it's showing, and hopefully we continue to get the support.
Yeah, no, it's great. Just before we start digging into Open number 4, I just wanted to mention one thing. June 28th, Stroud, Ontario, Team Canada is having a fundraising concert. Demi and Daniel have organized this. So it's going to be at the Stroud Curling Club, which, I mean, if you're from Ontario and you're listening to this, we have all
We'll be there 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before. That's it. It's in the room upstairs. Daniel's got this band. Demi set everything up. So, they're looking to raise some money for Team Canada going to Croatia. We've done a great job so far with jersey sponsors. I think we're at 10 grand, for jersey sponsors, which is fantastic. So we'd like to raise a few more thousand that night. Also, the group is going to continue to do fundraisers over the summer. So buy a ticket from Demi. They're $30. Listen, even if you're not going to go, just buy a ticket from Demi. We can help raise some money for the team. And bring your friends. If you're going to go, tell your friends, right? This is for non-cornhole people too, obviously. Grab your buddies, grab some tickets from Demi, and get to Stroud on June 28th. Nyan got a new lawnmower this week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope it's a push lawnmower.
No, it's not. It's even fucking better than his old one. Well, I mean, anything would be better than his old one now. You should see this thing. It was so it was insurance. So he got
Mm.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, it burns down, but you're fine, and now you're getting this. But yeah. So, if in case anyone missed it last week, Nyan was cutting his grass and he turned around. The back of his lawnmower was on fire. He's fine. Got off. It burnt in the driveway. So he picked up this fucking beauty today. 0 spin. It's got dude, this thing is unreal. Anyhow, he sent me a few pictures of the finished product.
Okay.
And no, I mean, it looked gorgeous. So I think maybe that's his new personality now.
Lawnmower
Nyan
guy.
the Mo King, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, if anyone's in the Pefferlaw area and they're looking for a good deal on either a used lawnmower that needs slight repair or you need your grass cut, give Nyan a call in the comments. I'll put his cell phone number. You guys can reach out. He said $20 a lawn, doesn't matter how big it is.
I love it.
Yeah, it's actually
Little beer
pretty
money
good.
for Newfoundland.
Yeah, exactly.
Beer's expensive out there.
I don't know. I haven't drank in 8 years, so I'll be fine. What about water or Diet Coke? So how Diet Coke's expensive out
Oh,
there?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to
I've
go
only
ask
I only
him.
had one beer ever when I was out there. So it was
Was it the iceberg one?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I
I
don't I
saw
don't
that.
drink either. But
I think I saw a picture of you and Biggs
with the
having that
ice,
with
yeah,
the iceberg
probably.
beer. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And I'm gonna get so I have my league sponsor and the Team Canada sponsor Duplicators is making me up 100 of the blue 33 stickers. I will put those at the director's table at the Remax Center, and they're going to be sticker sheets. Just come grab one. Let's stick them on our jerseys. Let's remember Biggs, in 2 weeks, and have him play along with us. I think it'd be awesome to see a bunch of 33s on everyone's jerseys all weekend. So,
Yeah. Always
I'll have the stickers there.
we always had fun out there. He loved going out
He
there.
loved it, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely gets marked on the calendar early. So, well, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, we'll remember him while we're there. That's for sure. Open number 4 coming in hot. 2 weeks away. I leave in. Yeah, I mean 2 weeks today. I'll be there. So we're getting ready.
Can I fit
We
in your
gotta.
suitcase?
No, you're gonna buy your own ticket. You probably
Oh,
fly. You'll probably find some last minute fucking deal for half what I paid.
Yeah, I'll be calling you. Hey, can you pick me up? I'll be at the airport at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah, like last
Yeah.
time. Did you fly in last time at like 1:30, or wasn't it like 8 in the morning and then you rushed to play the qualifier, or you weren't playing in the qualifier but you had to get Corey there or something like that, wasn't it?
For Newfoundland?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think we left later in the afternoon, and then yeah, we basically just got the rental car and was like Corey had to play. It was the Team Canada qualifier. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just was worried about someone trying to take me to go get food. I was starving. I didn't, I didn't care what. I just wanted to eat.
Oh man, you laughed to choke right out of me. Yeah, so we're getting geared up. We got a bit of a teams list. I mean, this is a little bit earlier than we usually do a prediction show. We decided to go ahead and do it this week. So we know that there's a lot of players. You know, when we got this list of teams, I think there was 51 teams. That was Monday afternoon. This morning there were 60 teams. I didn't ask for a new list of the teams because I didn't want to have to sort through it again. So we're just gonna roll it with the 51. We know a few of the players that are missing, like Brandon and John Burr weren't on that list yet. Um, Nyan wasn't signed up for singles because he hasn't signed up for fucking anything yet.
I've heard he does that. Yeah,
Yeah, except for the two events that Finley signed them up for. So he's in doubles thanks to Finley, responsible James. But yeah, so I think we'll let's start with the opens, and then we'll move into the pro stuff. But we don't have a lot of Americans on the list yet. I'm not sure.
we probably won't get him.
No, and I don't blame them. They got 6 SIGs to play in
Yeah,
2 months, and they're focused on that right now. And there's a chance we could get the odd last minute if they wanted to come. I know Colin Haudette wanted to come play it, but at the same time, he's every other weekend. You're somewhere right now if you're a pro.
you might see
You know,
someone like Nick Patutsky come
yeah,
in late.
those kids love it.
Yeah,
So right now we have our favorite friends from Connecticut, Jeremy Cooper and Fish.
yep.
They're making the trip, and then Kimberly Broman, who is a super strong. Is she still a pro or
I'm not sure if she is. I'm not sure if she is. She might
I
not be.
she
She
was
was a long time pro though.
yeah,
Long time pro.
long time pro, yeah. Yeah, long time pro. So she'll be there as well. So I think that it's going to be a tough division. It's going to be a battle, but it's going to be an mostly all Canadian battle, right? We're going to have those players: Simon Dallaire, Dion Kuza, Brandon Brown. You know who else? Who else you got up there?
For open singles,
Yeah,
I'm I think that knowing that facility and knowing that it gets hot and it gets sticky in there,
yeah.
that might play right into someone like Will T2 with the roll bag.
It's going to help that role, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I had to single out and pick one, that's who I would go with. I
Yeah,
don't think you ever go wrong with picking Dion Kuza. Like I always say, I think Dion is the most consistent player that we have. The most elite, consistent player that we have. Does he
yeah,
lose games? Sure, but he's always in them. He's always got a chance. You
yeah,
always see him at the end of a bracket.
yeah.
Um, so I think maybe someone that's been playing good lately too, maybe like a Geoff Colbert.
I mean,
Um,
you certainly can't count him out. He's been there before against elite talent. He gets dialed in, and he's hard to stop.
and he's another guy that's certainly been developing that cut and that roll back. I seen it,
Yep.
this past weekend at our regional. Um, yeah, I think that's where I would lean. I think it's someone that can throw the bag still in the hole, but when it gets really mucky and those bags start sticking, that can find a way to get a few extra points by maybe a roll. So those are the guys that jump out to me.
What about the other, top Newfoundland talent? We're talking, Val, Amanda. Andrew, Matt,
I
Derek.
think Matt. To
Yeah.
me, I think Matt's had a very strong season. I don't think that a lot of people would have predicted this at the start of the season.
What is he? Fifth in the standings, sixth in the standings, in
Something
the
like
pro
that. I mean,
standings.
he's
Yeah,
up there and he's played good. He kind of got in last
consistently.
minute.
That's right.
Like Newfoundland's qualifier was kind of near the end. You know, he got stuck with me in Calgary and I played like dog shit. But um but he's had a really good season. You see him on the podiums out there all the time. You know, he mixes up who he plays with too. So, you know, I think when you do that, you have to be fluent in the styles that you play
Yeah,
because most times, you know, you might not be throwing your bags where you might be throwing someone else's bags that are a little sticky. So I think he probably adjusts to the game really well. So, I mean, I like Matt. I'm never going to go against Andrew Spencer though, because he always rocks the four joke stuff. So
yeah, he does
he's
love the
always
four
got to
joke
be
stuff, eh?
he's got to be he's got to be up there too. I mean,
Yeah.
Derek, yeah, but Andrew Spencer, I'll rock with Andrew.
You think that it being your hometown tournament, there's more nerves because you don't want to let down. You got maybe your friends, your family watching. You don't want to let them down. You think there's more nerves or less because you're pumped up to be playing at home?
I would think that normally, except
Yeah,
for what I've saw previously when I've been there.
yeah,
And that was, you know, like Amanda and Crystal playing in the finals. And Amanda comes back and wins. Seeing Dion play in the finals there
yeah,
against Bernie.
yeah,
Much like the atmosphere in Quebec, the atmosphere in St. John's will be much, you know, much different than what most people are used to. Like I'm not going to say it's rowdy, but they're involved in the game. People will
awesome.
come and watch.
Yeah,
They'll make noise. You know,
yeah,
I think here in Ontario, and you know, you don't see too much of it in Alberta. Both times we were out there, but like they get involved and they want the people, you know, their hometown guys and girls to win.
yeah,
So,
of course.
you know, if that's something that can get under your skin or get you rattled, like you might be in trouble when you start getting down to the end of the brackets.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, buddy. That's I think that sometimes you can have that crowd behind you and it can kind of help move you forward, right? I mean, man, Amanda, that's how she got her pro card that first season was by winning that open.
Yeah,
So, no, we're gonna. And then who won last year? Dawn did, right?
Dawn, yeah,
Yeah,
she was on fire. I called that with Doug. Yeah, Dawn
lights
was
out.
unreal. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, that was a big win for her last year. Who do you got? I think so. You know, obviously, like, all of our top pros are going to be the favorites. I'm going to go off the board a little bit, kind of pick someone who's not a pro. I think guys that could have a good weekend or a good open singles. We got Geoff Walsh and Brett Castine, right?
yeah,
Both guys have qualified through the pro qualifier this season before they played in the pro events. Geoff and Matt Mearns finished fourth wherever they played together, Niagara Falls.
Niagara. Yeah.
Yeah. So Geoff's definitely a player. Great name too.
Mm,
So
mm. You must spell it with a J.
no, he spells with a G.
I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
I know. Yeah, I know you know, but I'm not sure everyone else does. There's two Geoff W's in Canadian cornhole.
Yeah, like both those guys you mentioned are you know could definitely make some noise. I guess essentially the open singles is almost a whole run of Canada pros, really, right? It's a
Yeah,
very big portion of that division is Canada
that's right.
pros. But
Yeah,
but uh, I've played with Brett a long time, just being relatively close in vicinity, and you know Brett is very consistent too. So Brett's definitely someone that can make some noise in that division.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean it could go a bunch of different ways, and you
yeah.
know
No,
and that's
yeah,
why we play. That's why we play. I mean, let's see who's going to come out as the top dog here.
exactly. And Brian Conway's just I. He said that fuck it. I guess I gotta focus again. Maybe because we're not talking about him. And we would love to talk about you, Brian, but you aren't on the list, which leads me to believe that you have not registered yet. So what you should do is register yourself, and then maybe we can talk about you. Get registered. Anyone else listening that hasn't signed up, sign up. As directors, we have actually mentioned this a million times. It is annoying when you don't know what the numbers are going to be like. If you plan on going to St. John's in 2 weeks,
Like, I mean, at
sign
this
up.
point, you would have a plane ticket if you're
At this
flying
point,
in,
you would have a
unless
plan.
you're me,
Yes.
and then you may end up.
Yeah, you may end up there. It's
Yeah,
still
you just
hard to
never know
tell.
what's
Yeah.
gonna happen here. But no, it's it's
Oh,
a heavy.
Brian says he is signed up, but
Oh,
must have been in between Monday and today because open singles, I don't see him. But I will.
signed
I
up in
will.
advance.
Oh, there we go. I didn't think pros could play
You
advanced.
can't. I don't think you can. Oh, but no, it's a wide open field, and I think when we're talking about these sort of things, sometimes it's hard to narrow it down just because so many different people could win. Like we just mentioned, Geoff and Brett, like those
Yeah.
two guys could go on a run.
Yes.
Um, Someone like Don out of the pro field can go on a
Yeah.
run. Craig Halford. We could name 20 or 30 different people that could go on a run or have the capability of doing it. But I mean, when it comes down to it, who is going to do it? In 2 weeks,
And you know what?
someone's
Yeah.
going to have to do it.
And when it comes down to it, I see posts on the internet all the time, who you got, and everyone, all the pros are always saying, who's got the hot hand that day. And you know what? I don't buy that 100% because the consistency to win has been shown, right? The guys that are in the top 3 are consistently in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
The French Connection, Brandon, Dion, and then you'll have guys that get the hot hand and hit a podium spot. Chris Shire. I'm not gonna say Simon Delaire. Like you and I talked, he's a top 5 player in Canada right now. He
Yeah.
just has to go the hard way, and it makes it a bit tougher to pick him because he's not in the field yet, and he has to battle a lot harder to get to those same spots. But Brandon, Dion, Craig Halford's another one who is
Yep.
consistently near the top always.
Lana.
100%. The division is tougher than ever, but that cream is still rising to the top on a consistent basis, and it's been like that all season. I mean, this is going to be no different.
Yeah, another guy you want to, we're talking about sometimes it just takes a hot hand. Who's been throwing really well over the last month? Steve Pohl.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, like I've seen him now at a couple of the regionals down in Delhi and a couple of things I've been playing, and Steve's been throwing great. Like, could Steve go on a run? 100%.
100%.
So again, it's just going to come down to who does it. When their names are up on the courts, who gets the wins when it matters. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun to watch. You're getting down to the a lot of things going on, especially you start looking at the top level players like who's going to requalify. Is someone going to qualify to open points? Someone going to qualify to pro points? And all that is, that's coming to a head now. We're getting down
All
to
the
it. So,
storylines. Yeah, no, the next
yeah.
couple of months are going to be real fun for us.
Yeah.
And going into Ottawa, we'll have a real good idea of what even certain individuals have to do in that situation to kind of make sure they don't have to play that qualifier on Sunday.
Yep.
What pros have to do to make sure that they don't have to play that qualifier on Sunday. It's going to be incredible. I mean, our sport is getting really exciting now because of this pro division. It'll get so many different scenarios. Getting rid of the conference qualifier and just having those provincial top 2 also makes it interesting.
Yep.
You're battling some guy at home as well, right?
Yeah. Like I can just speak on me. I missed an open.
Yeah.
This probably is going to be the second open I missed. I'm in the boat where like, how can I qualify? Can I get through open points? Am I going to have to play in a qualifier?
Yeah.
There's a million scenarios that are out there, and there's probably 20 of us, 25 of us out of the pro field that are in that same spot, thinking. And then there's guys like yourself that want to be a pro, or some other
Yeah.
guys they or ladies that want to be a pro, and they're sitting back going, how can I get this done? What's my
That's
best
right.
best route to accomplish this goal? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting down to the end of the season, and I think the end of this season is going to be like nothing we've seen yet in Canada.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's incredible. All right, it's gonna be great.
Except for you just picked a bad partner for nationals. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. Me and Ram are partnering up. I
I'll start throwing octane.
oh yeah, we'll light it up. I got
No,
Nyan.
I have been throwing it anyway.
Yeah, I got Mitch as my partner in Newfoundland, so obviously she's Team Octane. So we'll
Yeah,
throw her we'll throw her energies. I have my energies sitting right over there. I'm bringing them to camp this weekend to start getting used to them again. Then I have Nyan for provincials. Obviously, we'll be throwing Octane. There's favorite bag, and then I have you for nationals. Back to Octane.
yeah.
Octane rules the podium. Obviously.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about another Team Octane team. Matt Murrins, who just switched over to Team Octane, is partnering with Dion for open
Dion,
doubles. I'm going to take him to win the event.
that was my pick too.
I think they're going to get it done on the home turf. I think, with Albert retiring, Dion has kind of been passed around a bit. He's taken on a few different partners for different events. I like the idea of Matt and Dion throwing octanes and partnering on a regular basis. I think that is a really good team.
I'm sure at some point leading up to this event they've thrown together.
Yes.
So you know, I think I think it can go a long way with having played with somebody. Like you look at someone like the team of Halford and Ayers. Like
Yes.
they they know how to communicate. They are going to feel the same about the bags for the most part if they need to make a switch or what they want to do. They know the opponents, and I think that Dion and Matt would have this by this point. I'm sure they've played together. They've talked about this. This is a big event for them. It's on their home soil, so they're
Yeah.
gonna want to do good. And I think they will. I think
Yeah.
if I had to pick one team, that was going to be my pick. So I think
Yeah. I
Dion and
think,
Matt are going
yeah,
to be very strong.
100%. Another team that is definitely a top tier talent is, Simon Delaire, Peter Gunn, open doubles. I don't think we can count out any of the Newfie teams, Amanda and Val, Derek and
Andrew,
Andrew. Yeah. As well as, some really strong teams from Quebec, JSL and Sylvain and Steph Lavoie and Kevin Lefebvre. We have some players, really strong players from across the country, and that's gonna be a tough division. But I mean, what I am looking forward to the most of the weekend is the pro division. We have quite a few pros not going. Obviously this is an expensive sport, to travel around. So we have you only need your top 3 out of 4 events. So I mean, you can miss an open and still max on your points. So I mean,
yeah,
lots of players do choose to miss one, and that's certainly more than fair, right? Especially
yeah,
with the cost of flights and everything else. So the BC boys, they're not going to be there. I'm sure that is an expensive flight from Vancouver, probably about 7 hours as well in the air. So
be a long one with a big time change. Four
yeah,
and a half
huge.
hours.
4.5 hours, yeah. And then we got Champy and Jocelyn aren't going to be there as well. Chris Shire, it's his parents' 60th wedding anniversary, so he's sticking around for that. Don't blame him at all. And you.
What about is Sanchi going?
Oh, and Tim Sanchi. Yeah, I got him right here. Sorry. That was the first one on the list. And Tim Sanchi. And you. So we had 41 pros minus those 7. So we're down to 34. 34 pros, 6 of which have not registered with a partner. So if anyone's listening and wants to know how that works, we will have a Platinum Pro qualifier Friday morning. Depending on the amount of registrants in that division, if we get over 32, I think, or 36, then we'll take 8. But so either 6 to 8 will get added to the division. And then it's kind of, a lot of these guys, there's 6 guys here, and 5 guys and Michelle. But it's not necessarily that each one of them will get a qualifier, right? After the qualifying happens, it's up to everyone to find a partner. I mean, that's on you. So
Yep.
it might get to the point where a couple of these pros just partner up for the tournament. If, maybe, I mean, I know for sure if Jeff Walsh gets in again, he'll be going with Matt. Like Matt's on this list, right? Jeff and Matt will play together. If Simon gets in, and I mean, that if is so.
If Simon gets in, he's probably play with Michelle again after Drummondville,
He
right?
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is playing with Michelle again. Yeah. So I mean, there are some kind of back rooms, handshakes that have happened to kind of
Yeah,
put
like I
teams
had it.
together.
I had it in
Okay.
Niagara too. Planned. I didn't have a partner. I was playing with Greg Phillips.
Yeah,
Then I hurt my hand and then I barely played. So
yeah. Then you
it's
threw
cool,
some bags.
fun.
Yeah, in Calgary, I was supposed to play with Nyan if I qualified, but then I didn't qualify. But unfortunately, Scooter had to leave. So
But
then
then
I
you did
did
qualify.
qualify. I played with PVD,
Okay. Okay.
the gentle giant, Paul
Yeah.
Van Dam. Yeah. So we have, Chris Tremblay, Jeff Desjardins, Michelle Hunter, Peter Gunn, Mason Miller, Matt Mearns, all partnerless at this moment. So they will either partner with themselves or not with themselves, with one of the other people on the list or a qualifier.
I like to see Mearns play with Mitch.
Would you?
I think that would be a. They both like
Throwing
to have
octanes?
fun,
Yeah,
and
they do.
they throw octane. They
Yeah,
both like to have fun.
yeah.
That could be a good team.
It could be a good team. Yeah, no, I think it could too. And Chris Tremblay. So I talked to Chris last week, and he's in. We haven't seen him for a bit. He's been really busy with work, right? I think they opened another plant or something like that. So he's had to do a lot more traveling than he has for a while. So we could see quite a few. Um, we'll see what his game's like coming back after that layoff. We don't know though. He might be throwing every day
Yeah.
after work, so he might be just fine. And Chris is a great guy, right? Super laid back. You're not going to know if he's having a bad time anyhow.
Yeah. Very easy to play with. So
Yeah. What do you got in the pro division, Rammer?
for doubles,
Yeah, who's taking it down?
uh, I hate going against Will and Sam.
Yeah.
I got a gut feeling on Colbert and Davey.
Do you? You
Yeah.
think they're just going to go on a run?
Again, I just think board conditions and style of play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they I think they can do it. I think they can get hot and go on a run.
Well, there we go. Heard it here first. You could look like a genius in 2 weeks. We'll see.
Don't go 0-2, please, boys.
Yeah. I also hate betting against Will and Sam and Dion and Brandon. I have really good feelings about two teams. The first one is Carl and Guillaume. I think Carl's performance at the ACQ event was really good. Guillaume was a little bit, he was a little bit off. He was. Let's just call a spade a spade. I think that he's probably been working on that since to get back to where he needs to be for them to compete at the top of that doubles division. And I really feel like they're going to get it done there with some difficulty from my friends, James Finley and Nyan Shaw.
Yeah.
I think that Nyan got a lot more comfortable throwing those energies with James. James has been playing a lot of cornhole recently, a lot of regionals, a lot of league nights. I think that they have a real good shot to get that done. I feel like James on the inside, and he's been throwing on the outside a lot this season, but last year, James' inside arm was, I think, the best arm in all of Canada. He would have a level 4 block that he would run up the board with that hard low push,
Yep.
and very rarely miss them. I think he's going to find that magic in 2 weeks. I think they're going to be a top Nyan James, Carl Guillaume, and Dion and Brandon top 3. No particular order. I just feel like they're going to have some good events.
Yeah, I think if I go with Colbert and Davey, somewhere in my top three. But I like. I mean, you can't. Well, it's hard to go
I
against
know.
Sam and Will, but I think another advantage is that the Newfoundland players that just played in the Remax
Sure. For their league championships.
for their league championship, so they're gonna have a feeling of the boards. The
Yeah.
boards play differently there. Every time I've gone there, it's been always a big adjustment to what I'm doing here. When we get there, it's like, okay, we got to figure this out because this is not playing the same as home.
Yeah, they do
So
have a home court advantage for sure.
yeah, so you could see someone like Val and Amanda have a good
Yes.
weekend. Derek and Andrew come out flying. Whoever Matt ends up, maybe it's a Matt and Jeff Walsh combo again. So
Yeah.
like I think that the players that are in Newfoundland do have a bit of advantage. Have just played in that facility,
Yeah.
but I mean, like we said, the talent is always and who's on is going to always rise to the top. So, um, you know, Craig and Rob could bounce back too and have a good one. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the tightest pro event we've had all season. I think also when you add a couple more qualifiers in, and when you're missing a few guys, it makes things tougher, And I mean, we can't forget about the tough ladies too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Dawn and Lana. We'll see if Faulkner can bounce back after having a bit of a rough spell. He had a good last tournament that he played in too, kind of getting back to that slide game.
he's
Not
one of
trying
the
to,
only Canadians with a win there in that
yeah,
building.
yeah. I mean,
Doubles win with Bobby
that's right. A little bit of Canadian history, right? He's the
yeah
first Canadian to win an
at an
Open.
Open. Yeah,
Yeah. So and last year qualifying for Team Canada, 10-0 to
yeah,
qualify for Team Canada. That building is definitely kind to Faulkner. I could see
yeah.
him having a big weekend.
Yeah,
It's
like again, he throws that low, hard kind of
yeah,
cut shot, and that's perfect for that facility. It
yeah,
gets sticky in there and humid, and throwing that way will definitely help him. He'll have an advantage if you can't throw a cut shot. These guys that can throw the cuts are going to have a little bit of an advantage with those sticky boards like that.
that's right. No, it's gonna be really good. I'm looking forward to watching the doubles on Sunday morning. Hopefully participating in them, but I mean at the very least watching pro singles.
Dion,
Yeah,
done.
I think so too. But I also think Derek's going to give him a hard time. I think this is
Derek,
going to be Derek's
who's
breakout
Derek?
moment. I do.
Is he a qualifier?
I'm not sure if you got the weekend off work though. We'll have to
Oh,
see.
um, yeah. Again, it's tough. Like I think for me, like I've said all night, it's going to be board conditions and that style of play. Like someone that can, I'm saying guys that can cut and roll, but if your air mills are on too, a Brandon Brown, if his air
Yeah,
mills on, right, boom,
yeah.
uh,
And Brandon's due for a win, and
yeah,
that's weighing on Brandon for a man that has won his whole career. He's gone the season without a big win, and he's not the kind of guy just to sit back and take it. You see him pushing, you see him practicing. He's going to be trying to get that dub.
yeah. Like another guy, when talk air mills, Craig Holford, definitely
Oh,
he
yeah,
can air mill with the best of them.
yeah.
Steve Pohl.
Oh,
I
that
mean, that
little
used to be
cutter.
Steve's game, right? Little
Yeah,
baby cutter and a big air mills.
yeah.
And he's not afraid to throw them. He never second guesses it. He just throws it.
No,
He's
throws
got
it.
all the
Yeah,
confidence in the world in that air mill. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's where I would lean. I think I'll go Dion first, but again, I think it'll be one of those guys that have a little bit more to their game than just the traditional slide shot. That is probably going to do the damage there in some of these brackets.
And no coming back up from the bottom in singles, right? We're playing single elimination stack bracket. It's
You don't got
you
time to
know,
figure it out. You got to be figured out before you show up to the board.
yeah, classic to 21, but you're going full pin right into it.
Yeah.
I think it's Dion's event to lose too. I think on coming off his victory in Quebec, uh, he won the last Open in Newfoundland, home court advantage. I mean, really, he would have to be the betting favorite.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Again, there's just the whole group, the whole pro group is just so, the skill level is just so tight. Like, again, Sam, Will, Craig, guys like Colbert and Cole can get hot. The women, Val, Amanda, Crystal, Lana, Dawn, Demi, like so many, so many different people could win this. I do agree, though. I do think it's Dion's event to lose,
Yeah.
but I mean, one of these guys or girls could get hot, and that changes the whole thing, especially in the single limb.
Especially in single limb.
And someone coming out of the qualifier, like, again,
Yeah.
we've said all season long, like, Delair's a top player in Canada. Period.
Period.
Well, some high seed is gonna face Delaire in the first round
Yeah.
because he's gonna be a qualifier, and
Yeah.
someone's gonna have to deal with him early.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And
it's
these
tough.
sticky board conditions are going to be favorable for his roll game too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to start flopping bags in with that little cut roll, and he's going to make it a mess real quick.
Yep, 100%.
I think one guy we kind of always forget about and definitely has the ability to go on massive runs is Uncle Steve, right?
I know. I just literally thinking the exact same thing. The exact same thing. I don't
Yeah.
know how he does it. 24 beers deep, but he does it.
Yeah.
And
Laughing and smiling the whole
yeah,
time, gutting his chew,
yeah,
no problem. He's not afraid of throwing air mails either.
no.
He's more afraid in doubles because I've seen Lynn's eyes. If looks could kill sometimes, I feel like Steve might be a dead man on the other side.
But yeah, like, again, it's a guy we hadn't mentioned yet, but he could easily. I mean, if he goes on a run, no one's going to be surprised. He's
No,
definitely shown it all year. He's won lots of events. He's played great in a lot of events.
he's won
So,
lots of events. He's a hot,
Paul, we haven't even
IPPR
barely
guy.
mentioned Paul, another
Yeah.
guy. Like,
No, there's a lot of good players. I think what kind of stops us from mentioning some players is that in Canada we're so nice and we want to include everyone. But there's only a group of players that have actually won these high level events, and it's a small group.
yeah,
So, I mean, us going off the board and picking, players that we think might have a good event or could go on a good run, all these people are pros for a reason, right? These are
oh yeah,
the best players in Canada. So, any one of them could go on a good run and win this event. But if we're talking about consistently battling the nerves, battling these other players. There's 5 or 6 players that I think have a legit chance to take it down. And these are guys that have consistently been at the top of the leaderboard. And that's why I picked James and Nyan. James has won a bunch of doubles events. He's been there before. He knows how to handle Nyan as well. He knows Nyan's game, and he's able to kind of coach him a bit into those situations. And I'm not saying that Nyan needs the coaching, but James has won
it's a comfort
pro
thing
events.
sometimes too,
Yes.
right? You're
Yes.
unsure. You might see one shot, but they're at the other end, and they say, "No, it's not there for you."
That's
Like
right. That's right.
I could stand down the other end from Corey and say, "Nah, we played together so much." Like I could,
Yeah.
like anyone that you've played that many games with, any partner, like what they can do and can't do, or what they're comfortable with or not. So you have to trust when you're playing doubles. You have to trust your partner on the other end to help you
Yeah.
guide you through some shots.
Yeah.
Like there has to be trust.
Yeah. And they're having a warm up regional in Stroud on the 24th. And I think that's going to go a long way to help them too. And just, kind of dial in the bag situation. Stroud Curling Club on May 24th could be similar conditions, a bit humid. That building is
Kind of
kind of
similar.
similar.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great practice run for those two, and I really feel like James is ready to kind of take that next level again this season. He got those wins with Connor last year, and James was throwing really confidently, and I think if he gets back to that with 9 here in Newfoundland that they can definitely do some damage and perhaps take it down.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, that's where my head's at. Those two, and then in singles, I can't bet against the big five. I'm putting Simon in there. I'm putting Will in there. Sam, Dion, Brandon. To me, those are the top 5 players in that division right now. And I think one of those 5 will take it, and I think it's Dion's to lose.
I agree. I think it's Dion too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, any of you other pros listening, and if your feelings get hurt that we're not choosing you, just prove us wrong in 2 weeks. That's it, man. Prove us wrong, and at the end of the day, I think me and Rammer watch a lot of cornhole and have a pretty good idea what's going on. But if you don't think we do, just prove us wrong. And we'd love to see it because I love it when the underdog wins. I honestly would really love to see someone out of the top 5 not win.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
would be my favorite. I love when Scooter and Paul took down doubles in Quebec. And I don't think they can be counted out. But if you're putting money on a game, I think you have to go with the consistency. And once isn't consistent, I think once we can get there a couple times that then you'll start seeing it. But I don't know, man.
It'll be fun. It's going to be a good weekend. Going to be a good one.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. It's my first time there, and the whole fam's coming. I got Alicia signed up for the swap on the Friday too. She's gonna make out with a cod.
Nice.
So yeah, better than
Be
me.
the first in line.
So she
Be
said
the
she'll
first in line.
So I don't think that's how it works. Not me. I'm gonna wait for last. Well, because I asked Derek because as most people know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. So I asked Derek if they had one for kids and people that don't drink anymore. And so I guess when Gage McMillan was there, he did it, but just didn't take the rum. So that's what me and Jude will do as well.
All right. Have fun with that.
French kiss the fish.
Yeah.
Did you get screeched in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they
See,
try to, I think it was, who were we? Last year we were trying to get some of the Americans. They were like against it. Patutski. Who else was there? Farrell.
yeah,
Maybe, Shimmerhorn, right?
yeah.
Brown, Jordan
They
Brown, Steve
they
Gray.
they wouldn't
They were
kiss the
all
fish.
like, Patutski was like, no, 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 no. I don't know if we ended up getting them. I know Farrell did for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember Jordan Brown doing it, but yeah, it's fun.
Jordan
It's a fun
Brown.
atmosphere.
Jordan Brown kind of has that smile on the face that he'd probably like do anything once at
Yeah,
least. Yeah.
yeah, maybe
All right, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here. I guess probably in 3 weeks.
after
We'll
the Open.
yeah, after the Open, we'll wrap up that show and see how right we were or how wrong we were.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Good night.
See you, boys, ladies.